In this digital age, and especially because of the COVID-19 pandemic, you have got to know how to live stream your music. Live streaming is a very important part of making your music heard all over the world. And what's more, today our guest Fedor Ouspensky will share with us what you need to know for the best live streaming experience that you will have. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hello and welcome to the show. Before we introduce our guest, I want to tell you all about what we're doing. And for those who are new to this show, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I want to tell you a little bit about our competition, the Sound Espressivo Global Competition. And our mission is to empower musicians for the future. And our broadcasts are designed to do that, help you to meet our community, to meet our judges, meet our fellow contestants from last year, to meet people who give away the prizes, and just let me tell you about this competition itself, because it's really, really unique. And there are 5 important aspects that you need to know in order to apply and also to know about us. So first of all, there are no time limits in the semifinals and finals of our competition, which means that you can program longer works, you can program shorter works, you can make a recital program. It really allows you the freedom to program what you want. And speaking of programming, the second important aspect is that we have no repertoire restrictions. A lot of competitions may have, oh, you must play some etude, or you must play a certain Bach prelude and fugue, or something of that sort. No, we have no restrictions. We want you to be able to express yourself in the manner which you see best fit. The third thing, which I actually think is the best thing about this competition, is that there is immediate feedback from our jury members. And what does that mean? That means that as soon as you've played live, you come back on your seat and talk to the jury members right after. And they'll give you their constructive suggestions, they'll give you their feedback, and they'll affirm some of the things you've done. And what's more, you get their applause as well, which is something really unique to this competition. The fourth thing is that our prizes have a total value of over $100,000 US. And we don't give away any cash prizes, but what we do instead is we give performance opportunities, we give management, we give career coaching, website design, agents who teach you how to be your own agent. All of these add up to over $100,000 in prizes. We also give away scholarships to attend festivals, attend master classes. And these are really valuable experiences and opportunities to connect, to collaborate with other musicians. And it's extremely valuable. The fifth thing is that our competition is completely live broadcasted, which means that apart from a video recording that you could send in the preliminary audition, everything is live, just like in a real live in-person competition. We'll set up all the equipment and help you with that before the show. And as soon as you go on, all you have to do is play in the comfort of maybe your living room, and which is what I did last year. And so if you know anybody, or if you yourself are somebody who's interested in this, please check out our website below. There's a lot more rules and regulations available there, but also there's the application form. So fill it in and give us a try. Yeah, I think you will really enjoy this and get a lot out of this competition. So without further ado, let's introduce our guest for today. Fedor Ouspensky, who is a co-founder of Virtual Concert Halls and the Sound Espressivo Global Competition. So Theodore is, as I said, the co-founder of Virtual Concert Halls and the Sound Espressivo Global Competition. He's on the team of directors, producers, and visionaries who has helped to make this happen last year and is helping to make this happen again this year. He is a violinist who has studied at the Juilliard School, the National Symphony Orchestra Fellowship program, and privately with Aaron Rosand. He has played with incredible musicians like Maestro as part of the first violin section of the Castleton Festival Orchestra. Fedor has also trained as a conductor, arranger, composer, transcriber, and promoter of classical music. For his playing, he has won many prizes at competitions all over the world, including the Fairfax Symphony Young Artists Competition. And teaching is also something Fedor is very passionate about, and he's developed a system of individual plans, assignments that help students achieve their goals. And to me, what makes Fedor really admirable is that he's willing to have tried everything. He's empowered not only himself, but also others in his goal. And so he continues to work on these facets. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for that very enhanced introduction, Chris. Appreciate it.
It's true. It's on your site. So I'm only copying and pasting what you've written, kind of. So can you share with us your experience with virtual concert halls and with live streaming performances? What have you learned from these experiences, live streaming your music?
I think it's just such a empowering, I guess, experience to see live streaming be so prominent and so many people get interested in being part of it. And it just really, I think, unites the community around music, around live performance, around talking about music, and all of those things that seem to have kind of become, people were worried that it was going to become less present because of the pandemic, and I think that we've been able to really bring back that energy that people have, and really highlight the musicians that are maybe still stuck at home, but they're still able to express themselves and do all kinds of programs and talk about music. It's really fun.
What I also like about live streaming is, with the rise of Twitch, which is a sort of a game. Usually gamers use it to stream of what they're doing on the games. And what happens also is there's sort of a currency and a market involved, where if you're marketable, you're actually able to get a lot of donations as you are performing. And so a lot of musicians actually have moved to Twitch as well to stream the performances and potentially get donations and people fueling them. So which enables, I think, more than just what YouTube or Facebook Live has to offer, which is just the performance itself, and it's free, but you're actually able to get donations for it. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, Twitch definitely has a lot of success. I think it definitely gives a lot of options for people to be able to stream on their own, and a lot of younger generation people are very, very involved in the streaming world. There's TikTok as well, where you do little bit-sized videos, and that's, and you still get to communicate with your audience, and you still get to express yourself, and a lot of platforms exist out there for this kind of purpose. And I think that being able to also see a future of successfully being in the entertainment business with a lot of avenues for unique expression, I think is great. There are definitely musicians who are on Twitch, and there are musicians here as well, and we do stream a lot to Facebook, and I think there's a big community of musicians and lots of groups that unite musicians around different focuses and composers or different types of performers. That's really fun as well. It's definitely a very active world out there on the virtual stage, and I think that's why it's so important to know how to live stream and how that kind of thing works, so you can join in on this kind of
Absolutely. I think also with live streaming, especially on Twitch, or if you're able to develop a YouTube channel of yourself, what happens is that you're actually able to develop a fan base, and they're actually able to interact with you. With a meet and greet, VIP, you feel like it's only the very special people who get to meet the artists backstage. But with live streaming, especially with Twitch, you're able to communicate and interact with the artists just by chatting and leaving comments, etc. I think it's a more intimate way to interact with artists.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think like one of the almost drawbacks of live performance in person is that you're stuck seeing the performance, and a lot of the times the performer, who may have been the soloist, for example, is going to go backstage, and then they're going to either immediately leave, or they're going to only see a couple of their close and personal friends and backstage, and then they're just going to disappear, and you're not going to be able to catch a moment to talk to them or anything like that. Whereas live streaming is kind of, I think it's promoting an environment where there's no like weird power almost dynamic of like, oh, there's the performer and they're unachievable and you can't even talk to them, and they're like something to, I don't know, not worship, but something to kind of like look up to, and you can't really get to have a conversation with them on a level, like they're another person or something. And I think that It's kind of humanizes, streaming definitely humanizes a lot of maybe idols or other people like that, and it just creates the culture that we're all people and we're all just here to find a way to express ourselves. And musicians are just much more their profession is kind of tied to emotional expression and finding a way to connect with you emotionally through a venue, a form of like music or something, and I think that's really cool.
And speaking of that, I think what's really cool is that there's two things. First of all, what I've really admired when I first got into music was there was a documentary made with Daniel Barenboim, Jacqueline Dupre, Pinker Zuckerman, and Ishak Perlman and Zuba Mehta, where they performed the Schubert Trout Quintet. And there's a performance,
amazing
obviously.
Cast.
Right. I mean, you can't get any much better than that together. But also you see a lot of behind the scenes. You see them interacting. You see there's a funny clip where they swapped instruments and they, Barenboim's on bass and everyone's swapping, and I think Jacqueline Dupre is on violin or something, and they're just having fun. And you see sort of behind the scenes, and it's part of a documentary that they put together. But what that shows, even back then, is that people want to see the artists, like you said, being human, being actual people, right? And so I think what's a great advantage of live streaming is that you're forced to spend a lot more time with your fans and showing them who you are. And I think what also that does is, as an artist, it allows you to know what your fans like. What resonates with them. Did this piece by Chopin or this piece by Fritz Kreisler touch them? Or was it like, that's okay? And then you can experiment with your programming too.
Oh yeah, being able to understand that your audience is huge, absolutely huge. I think that a lot of the success of big streamers, a lot of big success of YouTubers, they know their audience, they know what their audience will like and will not like in a way, and they also are passionate about kind of presenting, either they might be playing a certain type of role, maybe they have a certain type of character that they're presenting when they're online, or maybe they're just being themselves and people like that personality as well. Depending on that, they just have this audience that they're cultivating, that they're connecting with, and they're always interacting with. On Twitch, for example, you have the chat and people are always commenting in the chat endlessly. Like any video you watch where it shows like a streamer, you'll see this chat is just going brrr, it's just endless. The speed and the abundance of communication that you have at your disposal with your audience, and the amount of materials you have to respond to as the person who is on stage or on the broadcast or whatever, is absolutely endless. And the problem with actually on Twitch is that you don't have time to respond to every person, rather than that you don't have enough comments, which is completely opposite problem in a way to what you might expect just in the arts in a lot of time. So absolutely. I think that communication is so important, and I'm really excited to see it more and more coming up, and to see how that can play a big role in especially like my profession, classical music.
Yeah, and it's going to play a bigger role as if we're more familiar with the technology that's involved in it. How do we upgrade our microphones, our cameras? And I actually want to play a video you made, if you don't mind introducing it a little bit about it. It was a basic tech guide on how to put everything together. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, sure. So one of the key things with virtual concert halls is to have a easy entry. There's no like gatekeeping of, you don't have this, please go away and find someone else. No, our whole point is to embrace people who have never done streaming. Is the perfect person for us, because we get to introduce them to the things that we think are easiest to get into live streaming. So in the video, I kind of explain, visually show almost like an unboxing type of video, but it's more of showing you how to set up the kind of stuff that we highly recommend for like starting out in streaming. I show a microphone, I show a webcam, and how to plug them and how to set them up so that you can join us and you can be part of something like what we're doing right now, and you can be a guest or you can be a performer, anything like that.
I love that, and I think it makes it very easy for people to see how to plug everything in, and it's not that difficult. So shall we have a watch of that video, Ante? Thank you.
Yeah, so this is a freshly bought microphone that I actually recommend specifically, so you get exactly the step-by-step of it.
And what microphone is this called? Like, what is this?
Oh no, I don't remember exactly.
It might be on our cards later on.
It
for
was
those
right there, the brand name, Fifna or something. I remembered, but not exactly. So that would be it. Yeah. I don't talk, but I definitely just show everything.
Yeah, which is why this is good, because you're reacting onto it. And then you have fifth. There we go.
Fifna.
Yeah, Fifina. Yeah.
Literally $20.
Yeah.
And you already have the microphone you need. And then
Yeah,
this is the
and it's
webcam.
important to stress that you're not really spending a lot of money to get really good quality. Is this the one you're using right now, this Logitech webcam?
No, that's not the one I'm using.
Mm.
I have used it before, and it's worked fine.
Oh, it's so satisfying.
Yes. Showing you how it kind of fits on the screen as well.
Yeah,
that can be
mount
confusing for someone who's never used a webcam before. Attention to detail is just definitely, and basically what a USB, how that'll work.
Yeah.
Computer or laptop. Get a link to join our stream.
Good choice of symphony, by the way.
Thank you. I even have a green screen behind me, but you don't need that, of course.
Oh, you have a green screen. Oh.
In that shot, yeah.
So these are, for people watching, these are the StreamYard settings. So when you join the competition or when you use our broadcasting virtual concert halls, you'll be introduced to this studio. And this is everything you'll see. This is everything I see.
Yeah, this is exactly what you'll see. If you are joining anything for virtual concert halls, we use this platform.
Very nice.
That's under 3 minutes, and you already know what you're doing.
There's not much else that you need to know, huh? So I wanna talk a little bit about. So we have some cards that we've prepared, and we're gonna blitz through them. About what you need. And so you talked about the camera and the microphone in the video, but there's also stuff like the router, internet speed, Ethernet cable, which I would love for you to elaborate on, if you don't mind. So could you, Ante, could you share the first slide? So this is how we're gonna talk a little bit about what technology you need to prepare for the live stream, and I'm gonna ask Fedor some questions as we go on. So let's keep going to the next one. Yeah, so do you need a very complicated computer or router? What do you recommend to just get yourself live streaming, Fedor?
So yeah, definitely you don't need anything expensive, but you definitely don't want to be using anything mobile, like laptop, tablet. The problem with those things is that they also, not only are they weaker processing, so that means they're less likely to be able to give you the consistency and the quality that you would want. So that it's not like distracting from what you're doing on the stream, but also that they have also automatic settings that they will do, and that will mess with your ability to get your microphone to work a certain way. One of the biggest struggles actually with streaming for musicians is that we're playing an instrument, and the instrument can either blast the microphone for like one of the most simplest problems. It just blasts it and overloads, and it just starts to crackle and all those kind of things. And with mobile devices, it's actually pretty difficult, if not impossible, to adjust the levels of gain on the microphone that's built into the device. And there's just so little customization because it's designed for portability and designed for ease of use. So it's designed really for conversation like this. Maybe for conversation like this you could get away with an iPad, but I don't think you could get away with it with performances, which is kind of our whole thing with virtual concert halls, is to host performances that are live and not pre-recorded or anything like that.
Yeah, it's important to emphasize that a live stream performance is not a Zoom call or any sort of like chat that you have on Skype or anything. It requires a lot more nuances in technology, in seeing you and hearing you. So with the next ones, talking about seeing and hearing, we'll talk about connecting by Ethernet cable. So you have a very solid connection. And as Fedor introduced to us, an external USB streaming microphone. And also an external USB webcam. So I think these are essential purchases, and I don't think they're actually that expensive. What are your thoughts, Fedor? Like, to get something good like this isn't really that expensive.
So I'm pretty sure the microphone that was in the video is about $20 to $25, and plus a few dollars shipping. And I think it also comes with Prime, which a lot of people use Prime nowadays, Amazon Prime. So if you have that, it's free shipping as well within a day. So even if it's last minute, you want to join. For mic, that was for mic. For webcam, I think it's also maybe $30. So you're looking at like under $60. I mean, if you buy Ethernet cable, you're not going to go over 100. There's no way you're going to get to triple digits and have like the most basic essentials that will work. They won't give you like studio recording setup where you could record and send to a competition and win kind of thing, but it will definitely allow you to join us, and we will definitely be able to also kind of help tweak things around. It'll just give us enough to be able to set you up, and you could do it.
Absolutely. And I want to emphasize, this is not just a one-hit wonder sort of thing. Once you buy these equipment, you can then do your own live streaming on Facebook. And one of the prizes that are actually given from virtual concert halls is a kind of a more in-depth guide to how to do your own live streaming, which I think either you or Frane is a part of giving, right?
Yeah, and then I'm just thinking about the shelf life is because you're talking about is this the one shelf life of a webcam is like 5+ years at least. Webcams never break, unless you literally throw it across the room or something, because you're just so mad at how your face looks, I don't know. Or how your person you're talking to looks.
that can happen.
No, but webcams have amazing shelf life. Microphones have slightly less so amazing shelf life, but just incredible. 5+ years on mics, and I'd say 7+ years on webcams. If you just the webcam is just sitting on your monitor, and that's it. Yeah, and then I think there was also the Ethernet cable thing that was mentioned. So internet connection is quite important, and depending on location, you might have really bad wireless connection. But Ethernet is always going to be an upgrade to whatever your wireless is, because it's a direct line. So there's no walls, because one of the things people don't think about is the walls and the floors. If you're a floor away from your router, and if there's a wall in between, even the door closed open, just having any kind of object that's in between your router and where you're receiving the connection from is going to create fluctuations, because that signal is going to bounce off the walls. And it's going to be weaker, and it's going to be less consistent. Consistency is really, really important.
Yeah, it doesn't. A lot of people who will say, I have a great internet connection, but if they're connected by Wi-Fi, and like you said, there's a door, or they're upstairs and the router's downstairs, you just have too many obstacles, and the signal can get lost sometimes. So Ethernet cable, I have to say, it's a lifesaver. And you can get really long ones too. I think I've got a 5 to 10 meter one, and I just connect it to anywhere I'm at. I say I need an Ethernet cable connection. It just gives me steady. I mean, even if you're not live streaming, but you're watching something on Netflix, or you're having conversations with people online, is just so much smoother.
Oh yeah, that's another good point. People don't think about this, but bandwidth is definitely still a part of internet, whether it's Ethernet or not. I mean, Ethernet connection means it's going to prioritize making sure that there's consistency to whatever's connected wirelessly versus the ones that are connected wirelessly. So not only that, but also if your kid is downloading a show from YouTube or something, or they're just doing some kind of heavy duty stuff, that's going to also lower the bandwidth that you have for your stream. Streaming is definitely the highest bandwidth, one of the highest bandwidth consistently things that you can do online. That's why it's so important to buy equipment.
Yeah, and if you're going to invest in doing this, you might as well do something good, so you give yourself the best experience possible. And
imagine if you get disconnected while you're giving a performance. How much of a letdown is that?
It would just be disappointing for everyone and yourself, and you just feel I don't want to do it again. This is such a horrible experience for me. So the next one is about testing your connection, and I think that's quite an important part as well of this whole process. That you do test your connection, that you make sure that you can use one of these sites, or you can even just Google test your internet connection, and you'll find the Google has their own one, and it's just important to do that. The next one is actually using earbuds and headphones versus using speakers. Can you talk a little bit about you see a lot of podcasters, they all have headphones on. What is all this about?
So something people don't think about as well is that if you're listening to someone when you're talking to them and it's playing through a speaker, what can happen is the microphone that's right next to that speaker could pick up the other person talking to you and then play that other person's audio that you're hearing through your mic back to them. And so what's going to happen is when I talk, say if I wasn't wearing headphones and Chris was talking, it would play that into my mic, and then Chris would hear himself back, like maybe a second later, and that's extremely distracting. And you can even hear it on the broadcast as well if you're trying to stream. So the headphones are really important if you have more than one person and you're talking. Yeah, extremely important. It can be earbuds, you can do Bluetooth. It really doesn't matter as long as the audio isn't playing through a speaker and it's not audible for the microphone. That's really important.
Mm-hmm. So then that's another thing you have to invest in. But I have to say, most people already have their own headphones and earbuds. It's not like that you have to invest another thing, but it's important to use like pretty good ones, right? Yeah,
you'd be surprised. There are a lot of people who do come in with us with speakers, and or they use a laptop and they just use everything built in. You do need earbuds. You do, at the least, if you're going to use a laptop setup and you have everything built in, you have a webcam, you have a then you at least need some kind of earbuds to listen to. Yep.
Yeah, that's good. I think we're covering quite a lot of them. We're just going to go through them the next ones quite quickly. So making sure you're connected to router, yes, camera to computer. The next one, which is about where to buy all this, right? Like Fedor Ouspensky mentioned.
Condenser mics.
Amazon
that's definitely
has
its own
a lot
story.
of this.
Yeah. But that's something you would definitely, that's like the heavy duty. If you have a condenser mic with a setup, you would come to us for like a longer sound check for things.
Yeah, I mean, with microphones, you can go on for forever on increasing your quality and the fidelity to your sound, making sure it's all connected to the wall. What else is there? We have ones to talk about. We're going live soon. Yeah, so once you have everything prepared, it's actually easier for us at the virtual concert halls to make sure everything else goes well. And once it's all set up, then you just have to perform, right?
Oh yeah. And if you do something wrong when you're live and you have everything set up perfectly, from say me sound checking you or something, Chris will in his soccer goal referee suit, he will pull out a red card
exactly.
and throw it through the camera at your face.
Absolutely. And you'll break your webcam in the process. They have to buy a new one, which is another investment you'll have to make. And then the last thing I think we showed is the lighting. So lighting is probably the last little thing. Speaking of lighting, the sun is coming in. It's making everything look making me look horrible. So I might have to throw this one in the bin too. So lighting is quite important to get the look. A lot of streamers will use different lighting sources here and there to give a depth of field in order to kind of enhance the look. You want to be quite close up to the camera and to be in focus, but you want there to feel like there's something in the background that's going on. So lighting is quite important, and you can invest in these things. Lighting, a ring light, which I have, isn't that expensive. It's about $50.
Yeah, lighting can get like kind of like, oh, I don't know what to buy. How do I know what to buy? The most important thing is just don't have the lighting pointed at you from the back. Get it pointed from, like, your webcam's in front of you. Lighting should be not behind, like, me. It should be in front of me. Otherwise, it'll look like I'm a dark, shadowy murderer in some scene, and there's, and all you can see is just the room darkness, and that's it. I don't know. Yeah. It'll look creepy instead of, you'll see, so you want the light from here forward onto you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Absolutely.
one.
Right. I think we've covered pretty much everything. And so everybody, thank you so much, Fedor, for joining me today. And thank you for being such a wonderful guest. Time passes really quick when you have good guests. Yeah, thank you. So for everybody else, thank you for joining us today. It's been such a pleasure to show you, the tech behind it. We're going to do a part 2. We talk about what to do on the day of your live stream. And check out our website, soundespressivocompetition.com. You can also check out Fedor's website for more information on his teaching studio and what he has going on in his life. And of course, check out our Instagram as well. And so thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for Ante and everybody who's producing the show, the Sound Espressivo team. And we'll see you next time.
Hopefully you'll sign up. That's when we'll see you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
See you soon.
No matter where you are or who you are, music connects us all. We started with a dream, but now we are paving the future. Welcome to the Sound Espressivo Global Competition. Fully virtual, yet bringing musicians closer together than ever before, now on a global scale. True live, inclusivity, diversity, connection, community, an extraordinary array of judges. Get noticed by companies all over the world. Prizes, scholarships, performance opportunities. Apply to be a part of the most exciting congregation of artists like nothing you've ever seen before. We guarantee quality and leave no musician behind. We can't wait to hear you on the virtual stage.